welcome back to Be the One. This is Nadia. Today we're doing Power, Book 4, Force, Episode 6. I'm gonna start right off. Tommy helps Claudia dispose of Maya's body, and she's kind of having a hard time with it being her first kill. So that's what we got going on with her. And she's kind of asking him questions he's not really answering. He's saying, like, this is what we do. She's trying to ask him how many bodies he have and all that. Like, he really gonna tell her. Excuse me. Then we go to Diamond and Jannard. They're at Elijah's funeral. And Jannard is still salty, of course, about Elijah dying. But Diamond is telling him that they all agreed to do this and he knows the game, like that's part of the game. They switch over to the Flynn's. They're at Simon's funeral, and Claude realizes she's starting to pay attention because she listened to what Gloria said, and she understands that something is going on with her dad's health. And he's trying to say that he's under the weather or whatever, the season's changing, but he got whole ass cancer. Walt goes over to talk to Vic, and you thinking he's gonna console him or something. Yeah, but he's up here basically blaming him for Simon's death. Well, Simon was a grown man and he was in on it himself. Vic and Jannard and Diamond decide they don't want to continue working with with Tommy, because they don't really want to have a full out war with the Serbs. So they cut Tommy out, but Diamond offers to buy all of the drugs from him. Jannard doesn't want to do it. Vic is like, okay, cool. So they agree on the price, 38 a pop. And they agree. Jannard is still, in his feelings. Diamond goes to pick up the drop from the 10 keys from Tommy. Once he's leaving out, Liliana walks in and she asks Tommy what he's going to do with his part of the money. And he says he's going to reinvest it in the Dahlia. And she wants to join in. He was like, you sure you got shot and all of this and you trying to jump in this already? She was touching her wound where she got shot. He said, don't touch it, because he ain't bringing her ass to the hospital. I thought that was funny. I like the dynamic between them. So she joins in on reinvesting the money in it. And he separated some of the money and told her to keep it for a rainy day or something like that. And he's telling her it's like no guaranteed return on this investment, and she already understands that because she's in the game. He goes to meet with Claudia, and he tells her that he wants to do the drop at like the public lockers like him and Ghost used to do, and she was saying like that's low class and all of that. But he's saying like people like you, rich people with money and finance people, all that, who passing through conventions have the money for it. And she was kind of saying it was low class, and like he had to, later on we'll see, he made her see the light. She also had he told her that Liliana was going to be working with them, and she didn't trust that, and he told her to basically cut out Reggie because he was a customer and he wasn't really moving big weight like that, so he wouldn't be that beneficial. She said he had connections, he could have been like beneficial in the future, but for right now he trying to set it up with people who can move a lot fast so they can get their money. Walt is at the dialysis center that they own, that's a front for their illegal money, and the feds are raiding them. and his old ass can't get into the computer. I don't understand why he doesn't know the password to I don't know why he doesn't know the password to his computer system and stuff. I guess he was totally hands off with that. And Claudia was running. He keep calling her and she's not there. So he's mad at her. She shows up and she puts the password in, and she hurry up and print out the papers that they need so they can see that the books are good, that the numbers are matching up. So she prints it out, she gives it to them, asks them if they need duplicates. And she said if that's all, y'all can go, basically. And once they leave, her dad is like, where were you? And basically disrespecting her, telling her she should have been there and all of that. Like, I guess she is not allowed to have no other life than to serve him whatever it is that he needs. And he doesn't listen to her and he disrespects her, and she's going to be very dangerous because, like, everything that she ends up doing is kind of to prove her dad wrong, and that she is just as capable as the men and her brother and everybody else, because they just trying to keep her in a box. So I think she already have one body on her at this point, and because her dad told her, like, her hands a little, she can't do it. She was shaken up when she did it, but I think it's going to become very easy for her, and she's going to be a problem because she wants to prove everybody wrong. And on top of that, she is very smart and she knows how to do the finance part. So she's going to be an issue. Mm. Jannard is telling Diamond that he finally has his mind right, and as far as cutting out Tommy and sticking with the family and all of that. He's saying he knows that what is his name, Merkovich, is going to come back, and when he does, like, the drugs that they're selling now, they're going to put 10% away. So when he comes back, they could pay him his tax off the rip, and then they can try to get more from them and try to work with them. So we shall see how that goes. It's a good idea though. So when they come, like, they're gonna be about money. They're gonna try to kill them too, most likely, but they're gonna be about their money. So they might be able to make a deal. Um, we go to Paulie. He's walking in. Walt is laying on the floor with a big knot on his head, and like, Paulie probably was thinking he was dead or something at first. He goes and, like, stirs him and get him to wake up. And he said he must have passed out or whatever. And he's like, well, your head is bleeding. And he tells him he needs to go to the doctor. He needs to tell these kids, like, what's going on with him, because he don't want him to die. And their mother died of cancer too, and it was kind of like a surprise. And he's just pushing it off because he don't want to think about that. I guess it's a sign of weakness. Um, let's see. Jannard pulls up on D-Mac while he's just out in the street, and he offers him $5,000. D-Mac is saying he wants him to do a hit, and he was like, I won't, catch a body for less than 10. So he's just telling him that he wants him to follow Tommy because he needs somebody to get some intel on him so he can see what he's up to. Um, mm, Lily is in the train station. Liliana, she's in the train station and she's scoping it out. She has, like, her phone up and her earpods in, and Tommy and Claudia in the car, and they could kind of see where she's going. She's showing them where the cameras are. She's saying they have police and security guards coming right here. She's just pointing out, scoping it out so they can go and use the lockers. And you know, Claudia and Tommy are sitting in the car and they are just, just talking about the operations and stuff, and they just have a good rapport, and I think they're going to it's going to work out with them. So at this point, Tommy switches clothes once Liliana lets him know that everything is clear. He scope it out. He goes in there and he puts the drugs in the lock boxes and takes the keys, and then he brings them back to Liliana, and then she goes to I don't know what her name is, but the lady that was running the chop shop where Rojas people had to go make a drop. So he sends her over there, and she gives them the key and a phone, and they have to, you know, and then the Freddy Krueger looking dude who was the like a Orthodox Jew with little curly cues, um, they send him the same thing, and then once they come to back to the place with the drop boxes, he sends them a text on the burner phone, and they have to go and get it. So they go back to they go back to the car with Tommy and them. He's texting them and telling them they did good, they made the pickup or whatever. And they ask like what's next and like what kind of game is this? And Tommy is just smiling because he gonna have fun with it. Um Paulie gets pulled over by the feds and they want him to cooperate. Say they have nothing on Walt, but they have like 20 something years of dirt on him. So basically, they let him know they trying to get information about Walt from him. And he doesn't go for it. He's like, an old school G or whatever. Walter wants Vic to find out what Claudia is up to. Vic blows him off, and he asks them where they having Sunday dinner at his dad's house or at Claudia's house, and he tells his dad that he's going to bring Gloria, and he said she doesn't have a seat at his table. We go back to Mama Egan's house. Tommy and JP are moving the stove because he's still doing renovations and stuff. And JP asked Tommy, like, you know, what do you really do? He said, like, I'm a businessman. I was a businessman. What do you really do? He said, I'm a drug dealer. And then JP kind of said, well, back in the day, I used to sell. He didn't really get to finish and say what it was. Tommy was like, you used to move weed or something. He was like, it was more than weed, but he never said, at least I didn't hear what it was. And Tommy was like, no, I don't want you nowhere near this. And he was like, can I ask you how you got so deep in the hole? He was saying like private investigators, I guess stuff with the divorce, trying to get custody of the son, the bar getting attacked and not doing good. His daddy was sick. The medical bills, all of that just started piling up. So that's why he is like not, good financially right now, but he doesn't want a handout. Tommy doesn't mind giving him the money because basically Tommy is just, he is loyal. He loves to have a sense of family, and he actually has blood family. He don't mind helping him out at all, but he basically knows if he brings him in this, it's a high chance that JP will wind up getting killed. So he doesn't want him. He doesn't want him in it. Now, while they're having this conversation, D-Mac is following Tommy still, and he's looking at and he like, what is this? Because he knows that JP is his dad. JP does not know who his son is. He hasn't seen him since he was a baby. He's kind of looking through the window. I'm assuming he can hear them talking. Um, and he sees Tommy. He knows Tommy is working with Jannar and well, at least with Diamond for real. So he goes back to Jannar and gives him the money back, and he said he can't do it. He's like, what got you so shook? He's like, yeah, just find somebody else. He don't really go into it. Diamond and Jannar are like, it's kind of like an alleyway or something, and they're watching their corner boys move the drugs and stuff. Jannar asks Diamond, "Why did you put me in charge?" Um, because he was saying they had people who were higher up at the time. Jannar was like 18. He was like they had people who were higher up in CBI who could have taken over. Why did you choose me? And Diamond told him it was because he had his blood. And the look on Jannar's face, it was like, that's all. Like, it wasn't like, oh, because you were smart, I felt like you could handle it. It was just because you my brother, basically. So he didn't look like he liked that answer too much, and basically he sacrificed his whole future, which again, like I said before, you didn't have to agree to do it. So I don't get it. Like, you didn't have to agree to do it, you know. But yeah, so he looked like he was upset about that. Um Tommy, Liliana, and Claudia at his apartment. He still wants her to wait, what? I'm looking at notes. He still wants her to pretty much blow off Reggie, and he tells her to get a burner phone and that they need to go and get the cook. They pop up on the chemist. D Mac goes to. I went over there already. He went to Jannard and told him he couldn't do it. Vic is walking down the street with Gloria. I really can't stand them. I don't like them at all. They don't do nothing for me. He is going to get her killed. We understand she not scared to shoot, of course, because of what happened. He's telling her he inviting her to the family dinner or whatever, and they have this little lovey-dovey scene on the street, and then somebody comes and does a drive-by, and I don't know if she had a gun on her or she took his gun, because like they kind of ducked, and then she came back up with the gun and she was busting, and I don't think she hit anybody, but she wasn't scared to shoot Vay. Diamond goes to the diner where the old men work at, and there's a lady sitting in his seat, his booth, and he tells her, "You're in my seat," and she's like, "Your name ain't on it." And then what is his name? Rick. Excuse me. Rick is one of the old guys who work behind the bar. He points at the like a news article of like Diamond back in his boxing days. And then the lady that's sitting there, she tells him to sit down, have a seat in your booth or whatever. And they start talking, they going back and forth, and they have a little flirtation. I don't get all into the conversation, doesn't matter. Next thing you know, they smashing. That's what that is. So when she goes to leave in the morning or later that night, whatever it was later that night. When she leaves out, her phone goes off, and then it's like an article. It's an article with talking about how he got sentenced to 15 years in prison or whatever. So that's a little shady because I don't know if she had looked him up beforehand or it just popped up now. I don't know what the deal was with that, but I don't think she's a police, but she up to something. And her name is Adrian. Um, Tommy, Liliana, and Claudia, uh, they they went and got the chemist and they got her to bring them to the lab that it was somewhere actually that Mai owned and built. So, and she's an orphan, like she doesn't have any family. So, I don't think anyone would come looking for this lab and stuff. So, they pretty much pressuring the cook to continue to make this. And she was like, well, this was like a one time thing. I'm not a drug dealer. And Tommy was like, well, I am. Like, lucky I am. Something like that. Basically saying. Now, I don't know if they can get her to teach Liliana or somebody else how to make it. Because then that would be a way for her to get out of it, and then maybe they still could pay her. But I don't want her to wind up dead because she didn't do nothing to nobody. She was just minding her business, trying to get her little groceries, and she done got caught up in this. Um, what we got? We go back to the chop shop, and after she made the pickup, she made one of her dudes try it. He'd take one little bump or whatever, and he was just like, he was gone. And she looking at him, he was like, it's amazing or something. So she took a little bit, she was in the same state. Then she texts Tommy back and lets him know that they're in. I guess later on after she came down, I don't know. Reggie is following Claudia. They just show a little quick scene of that. Vic tells Dad someone tried to kill him and he blames CBI. He's like, no, they were white. Um, and he said he think it was the servant, like the serves. And then he's like, oh, because you've been working with Tommy. He put it together that like that's what he was doing off on the side. Um, and he pretty much called him stupid. Diamond gets home. This is, I guess, the next day, and Adrian is waiting outside with a bag of food, and he says 2 days in a row I must be doing something right. You know, I don't know. Like they had a good little banter or whatever. I just hope she's not bad. Hopefully, she's not like a police or she's not trying to do something crazy. Maybe she was just trying to find out about him, and she likes him. But it don't usually be that simple in power. Uh, Reggie catches up with Claude and asks her why he's been dodging him. Now she was dodging his calls and stuff, and he did give her an advance. But the way he was acting, they was all brother and sister, like family and all of that. And then the way he was acting, I don't know if he got hooked on the drugs because he was acting extra crazy. And then he just hauled off and punched the girl in the face. And then he was trying to choke her to death. He was like, I'm going to miss you or something. It's like, oh, he crazy. I don't know if it was a ring or she had something in her hand. She stabbed his ass in the eye while he was choking her. And he grabbed his eye and he turned around and was like walking the other direction because he was hurt. And she grabbed his gun and popped him in the other eye, I think. If she didn't hit him in the eye, she popped him in his face. Whatever the case was, like, she got his ass. Now, I don't know how far. Well, we'll go back to. Um, yeah, I don't know how far away Tommy was because he technically, unless she was able to pick him up and put him in a car, he would have been laying on the ground and she would have had to call Tommy to come and help her. And then just stand there while he on the ground. I don't know. Like I said, it's TV. People be like nitpicking too much. I just don't understand the transition. Like how much time did it take Tommy to get to her to help her? So next thing you know, they her and Tommy are burying him, and they pretty much saying, this is what we do, this is who we are. So he like, if you're gonna get deeper into this, like this what it's gonna be. And she's accepting it now. So she has two bodies on her now, and basically it's like a defiance because her daddy said she couldn't do it. Okay, so this was just crazy. At first, I thought he was at Glorious Bar, but Walter walks into a bar or a restaurant, and there's three guys sitting in the back at a table, like drinking, and he just walks up, he shoots two of them, and the other one of them died, I think, immediately. The other one was like having a hard time breathing. He was still alive, but barely. And the other one was just sitting there. And he basically was telling them if they keep messing with his family, his boy, that he's gonna burn the city down and kill everything or everybody they love or something like that. So if Merkovich come back out here trying to pick with him, it's gonna be problems. So, and the waitress was standing in the back. So he was telling the last one to tell Merkovich this. Then he said, matter of fact, she'll tell him. And then he just killed him. It's like, oh. And then he just walked out like a G. I was like, all right, you know, because he been kind of frail. Like, he hasn't been scary. But for him to just do that, like, the way he did, it was just like, okay, like, he just don't care. Now, the thing is, they showing us that he's sick and everything. But he's not, I don't think he's going to make it past this season, but he's not going to die from his sickness. I think he's going to go out like a G. Like, Merkovich going to come back and it's going to be like a big war or something. And even though he don't like his kids and his kids don't like him, I think he's going to die in the fight to keep one of his kids from being killed. I don't think like he gonna die from cancer. Like he gonna die in some kind of crazy dramatic way. Um, I'm just trying to be consistent with this. That's all I have to say. Thumbs it up, thumbs it down, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. Thank y'all for watching. This is Nadia. Thank you for watching Be the One. Bye, y'all.